Eagles fans? You're now locked into the Think Eagles YouTube channel with Pablo Gary, the #1 Eagles fan from Maryland.
Kick it and go, kick it and go. Stiff on, spin move, is on, go. Sideline, a touchdown, I put on a show. Kick it and go. I had to kick off and go. Kick it and go. I had to kick off and go. Stiff on, spin move, is on, go.
Let's go. Eagles on 3, 1, 2, 3.
There you go.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
Did you realize that you were a champion in their eyes?
Yes, I did. So I packed it up and brought it back to the crib. Just a little something, show you how we live. Everybody want it, but it ain't that serious. That's that shit. So if you gon' do it just like this.
Did you realize that you were a champion in their eyes?
You don't see just how wild the crowd is. You don't see just how fly my style is. I don't see why I need a stylist. When I shot so much I can speak Italian. I don't know, I just want it better for my kids. And I ain't saying we was from the projects, but every time I wanna lay away or deposit, my dad'd say when you see close your eyelids. We was sorta like Will Smith and his son. In the movie I ain't talking about the rich ones, cause every summer he'd get some brand new hairbrain scheme to get rich from. And I don't know what he did for dope, but he'd send me back to school with a new wardrobe. And I think he did when he packed it up and brought it back to the crib. Just a little something, show you how we live. Everything I wanted, man, it seems so serious. That's that shit. So if you gon' do it just like this.
Did you realize that you were a champion?
When it feel like living's harder than dying, for me giving up's way harder than trying. Lauryn Hill said her heart was in Zion. I wish her heart still was in rhyming. Cause who the kids gon' listen to? Huh? I guess me if it isn't you. Last week I paid a visit to the institute. They got the dropout keeping kids in the school. I guess I cleaned up my act like Prince would do. If not for the pleasure, at least for the principle. They got the CD, then got to see me drop gems like I dropped out a PE. They used to feel invisible. Now they know they invincible.
Did you realize that you were a champion? This is the story of a champion. Runners in the market, they pop the gun. Stand up, here he comes. Tell me what it takes to be number one. Tell me what it takes to be number one. This is the story of a champion. Runners in the market, they pop the gun. Stand up, here he comes. Tell me what it takes to be number one. Tell me what it takes to be number one. Did you realize that you were a champion in their eyes?
Yes, I did. So I packed it up and brought it back to the crib. Just a little something, show you how we live. Everybody want it, but it ain't that serious. That's that shit. So if you gon' do it just like this. Like this.
That you were a champion in their eyes.
Fly, Eagles, fly, on the road to victory. Fly, Eagles, fly, score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3. Hit 'em low, hit 'em high, and watch our Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles, fly, on the road to victory. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
Boy, did you realize that we are some champions? Yeah. Yes, I did. Jalen Hurts, Saquon brought it back to the crib. Oh, my God. Welcome to the live, man. Who we got in here, man? Carlos. Carlos says, man, let's go. Let's go. I can't wait until the parade. I'm still trying to see if I can get there myself. I think it's on Friday, 11 to 1. It's going to be kind of tight for me, but we'll see, man. Kevin Talking Birds. Let me see. Kevin Talking Birds. What's up, my guy? He says Super Bowl 59 champions. Let's go. Much needed. Shout out to you, Kevin, man. Shout out to your channel, bro. Wow. Wow. Carlos says, one of my favorite albums by Kanye. Did you?
Did you realize that you were a champion in their eyes? Yes, I did. So I packed it up and brought it back to the crib. Just a little something, show you how we live. Everybody want it, but it ain't that serious.
That's that. Oh my goodness, man. Listen, guys, we just coming down from the high. Like, I didn't know that there was like this Super Bowl high. You know what I mean? Like yesterday, like when the clock hit 0 and you figured it out, like the Eagles are Super Bowl 59 champions, LIX champions. It's like you just want to kind of just sit in that moment and just relish it. And we won, and I didn't respond how I thought. Like throughout the game, you know, I just, you know, obviously I was kind of riding the highs and the lows of the game. And when it started to kind of get out of hand, especially when I think for me going up 10, I was still like, nah, we still got some work to do. This is not it. We got to keep the foot, our foot on the gas. Then our rookie Cooper DeJean comes up with the big time pick 6 on his birthday, takes it back to the crib, house call. I still kind of felt like, nah, we need more points. We need more. I was just like, nah, let's keep it going. So I don't know, bro. Like I said, I gotta talk to you guys today because I feel like I can actually talk about my emotions. Yesterday, were you guys in shock? I feel like I was just in shock. I really couldn't do anything. Kevin Talking Birds, he says, it feels amazing to witness our team winning the big game. Yeah, man, I was just, just so proud of how we conducted ourselves, from the moment, we entered into the playoffs. The Eagles just top to bottom, special teams, offense, defense, just the best team in sports and football. And, I go back to the Los Angeles Rams, being young and sort of immature for the moment. Jared Verse, talking, the Commanders defensive coordinator, he's talking. The Eagles are not doing any talking. They're letting their play do all the talking on the football field. I just love how we carried ourselves. I really do. And I think, the Eagles, you could tell it wasn't our first time. Like if this was your first time watching football, right? And you saw the Eagles play in this big game, you could just tell like, nah, they've been here before. They understood the moment, man. And so sometimes in life, we fail and we get back up and we take those learning lessons and we apply it, and I think we've applied it all playoffs. I love how Nick Sirianni in particular, he kept his composure. Nick Sirianni was emotionally stable, and I think that really helped the Philadelphia Eagles. It allowed us to just do what we need to do. I said to myself, going into this game, the Eagles, like, I need to know where Nick Sirianni's emotional temperament is at the start of this Super Bowl. And when the camera got up close, they did their close shot on Nick Sirianni, he was locked in. First Super Bowl, he's crying, he's emotional, I get it. This time around, nah, no smoking and joking, right? Like, even when they announced the Eagles, I think they, like the week, during media week, and they presented both sides, AFC champions, NFC champions. You saw Jalen Hurts and all of those guys, Lane Johnson, Darius Slay. Like when Darius Slay is not laughing, that's how you know. That's how you know. Easy is his name, 88. What's up, bro? He said, this is not a team to be forgotten. Absolutely. You can't forget this team because we still got a long way to go. And, something that Devontae Smith said when he was crying on the sidelines, speaking to Jalen Hurts, he said, man, this is not going to be our last time doing this, right? And I know those guys really mean that. I know they really mean it. Easy says, Pablo, you've done a fantastic job this season. I tuned right in after the bye week, and it's been smooth soaring since. Keep pushing, and believe me when I say you deserve a bigger following. Hey, man, I appreciate it, bro. Thank you so much, man. It's people like you, bro, that, help me, help this channel continue to grow, man. I love the birds, bro. Easy, bro. I'm just like you. I'm just like any other Eagles fan. I just love the birds, bro. So as long as, the Eagles are playing on Sundays and as long as I got breath in my body, man, I'm going to be talking, about the birds, and I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to get better with the channel, man. But I appreciate you, bro, for showing love. Kevin Talking Birds say, Pablo, we don't have any weaknesses on this team. It seems we may need one big trade or free agent acquisition and draft competent depth for the upcoming season. I'm glad you touched on that. Kevin Talking Birds, KTB, I'm glad you touched on this. All right. When I looked at the Philadelphia Eagles and how we won this game and the pure dominance on the defensive line, right? Now, coming into this game, it was a lot of rumors, and we talked about it on the channel. Myles Garrett. Should the Philadelphia Eagles go get Myles Garrett? I'm telling you guys right here, right now, I don't care what the Philadelphia Eagles do in the draft. They're number one for me. This is my personal opinion. The Philadelphia Eagles need to prioritize bringing Myles Garrett to Philadelphia. Whatever it takes. Because I'm telling you, the offense is set. Jalen is paid. Saquon is paid. AJ paid. Devontae paid. Only two people on that offense that you got to figure out how to get to come back, and it's not a big deal, but you got Dallas Goedert, you got Mekhi Becton. I don't think Mekhi Becton wants to go anywhere anytime soon, right? And the one thing that I notice about the Philadelphia Eagles is this. The Philadelphia Eagles is a land of opportunity. Coaches come here, players come here for opportunity. Think about Kellen Moore. Had no desire to stay with Philadelphia outside of a year because he knew if I could get to Philadelphia, I can get with a great roster, a great culture, a great program, and then get my opportunity. He probably didn't even leave New Orleans. He's probably still in New Orleans. Imagine that, right? Kellen Moore did a great job for us. I can't say anything else about Kellen Moore. We'll get to that later on in the show. But what I'll say is, watching that game, oh yeah, go get Myles Garrett. Because I'm telling you, that's how you're going to beat the Chiefs. You can't figure out the blueprint and then the following offseason not add to the blueprint to go. Because you got to deal with the Chiefs. We got to deal with the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes said, yeah, Jalen Hurts got me this time, but I expect to see him in the future. Right? They're not going to have Travis Kelce for too much longer. Right? Who knows how long Andy Reid is going to stay there. So unless the Kansas City Chiefs fix that offensive line, if I'm Philadelphia, I say stand by. Yeah. Let me add Myles Garrett to this nucleus. Because the truth of the matter is, Josh Sweat is on a 1-year deal. Milton Williams is probably going to command a check in free agency. Right? So you have the potential to reestablish, right, your defensive line. What's so crazy about the Super Bowl? I'm enjoying it, but I'm already thinking about a repeat. I'm already trying to process who and how can we replace Kellen Moore? Who and how do we replace Josh Sweat? Like, I get it. Celebrate in the moment. Enjoy it. I enjoyed it in real time. I'm now in the offseason. The Philadelphia Eagles, we're not the same team anymore. When Kellen Moore signed with the New Orleans Saints, all right, our offense is not the same. We got to figure that out. So, Kevin, I'm telling you, it's a great question you asked. We got some work to do. Great is great, right? And you see, that's the difference between Cowboys fans and Eagles fans. right? We just won a Super Bowl yesterday, and we're already thinking about the next one. Cowboys won a Super Bowl over 30 years ago, and they're still talking about what they did 30 years ago. I don't care about what we did yesterday. It was great. It was fun. It was amazing ride. It was an amazing journey. Let those players and their families enjoy it. As a fan, as a content creator, I'm moving on to the next. Now I'm focusing on the 2025 season. Well, I'm gonna celebrate. We gonna celebrate.
Did you realize that you were a champion in their eyes? Yes, I did. So I packed it up and brought it back to the crib. Just a little something, show you how we live. Everybody doing it, but it ain't that serious. That's that shit.
Yeah. We gonna celebrate. But what I'm saying is, I want to dominate. Right, and I said this before the game. I said what was so great about the opportunity that the Eagles, had in the Super Bowl is not only to stop the Chiefs from completing their three-peat, but now they can kind of replicate their own three-peat situation. Philadelphia Eagles have everything on offense to go back to the Super Bowl. If Howie Roseman, if he's aggressive, right, you have the 32nd pick in the draft. I'm saying Jalen Hurts 26. Most of your prime players are between 26, 25, and 29. I'm saying the next 3-4 years is your window, right? Myles Garrett just turned 29. You pair him up with Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and Nolan Smith. Man, and because Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean are developing at a fast rate, at a high clip, you have to dump resources into that defensive line, right? So, great question, bro. Great question. Let's see here. Carlos says, I was celebrating at halftime. Them boys got 16 points on our backups. The starters beat him 40-6. Absolutely. Yeah, we get it. They just tried to make it look a little, I understand. 40-6 is kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. But it is what it is. Carlos says, I'm calling it now. Hurts will be MVP next season. Yeah, it's crazy because when you fail, it brings something out of you. But when you succeed, it also can light a fire as well to stay there, right? So I'm really interested to see how Jalen Hurts responds. I don't think this is going to be a situation where the Eagles are going to forget how to play football. Like the blueprint is there. Now that you have the blueprint, now that you have the foundation, you just gotta year by year plug and play special people to keep this thing prolonged. That's it. Philadelphia Eagles is gonna be just fine. Philadelphia Eagles will be just fine. Easy said, you gonna be at the parade? I thought about it, bro. I gotta work. I don't get off until 4. I really wanted to make it, but 11 to 1 is kind of a crazy time, especially during the day. I missed the first one, but when we get to the repeat, I'll be there for that one for sure. Easy says, get hungry dogs. Myles been in Cleveland so long, he's not hungry. He's dying for success. Yeah, Myles Garrett is a dog that's been locked up in the cage who hasn't eaten in a long time, right? And that's how you keep that fire going, right? Right? You got it. Like whenever you're trying to keep a fire going, sometimes you light it and it's flaming, it's up there. Then after a while, kind of dim it down. Myles Garrett is that and you boom, right? That's what you need. So Myles Garrett, to me, man. What I love, too, is Jason Kelce started to recruit Myles Garrett. I don't know if it was Good Time America or what it was. He's serious. He's out of Cleveland. You call LeBron James, you say, hey, man, I 8 years in Akron, I can't do it anymore. You get on national television, say, hey, man, I talked to the Browns, talked to LeBron. Unfortunately, this is the direction I'm going to go. And Jason Kelce, man, doing his due diligence as the Eagle legend that he is, says, you know what? Hey, Myles, I think the Eagles, they might need you, right? And he says, I'm looking for a team that is winning. The Eagles just won a Super Bowl. The Eagles are going to have a couple of departures on that defensive line. Brandon Graham is retiring. How about BG, man, going out the right way? When the Eagles won yesterday, I just saw Brandon Graham's permanent smile in my mind, like just football immortality, just that smile, the fact that he's going out on top. And I'm going to always say this, and I respect Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox and their decision to retire, but I think they retired just a year too early. And I'm not just saying, I said that in the offseason. I felt like Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox, I feel like they had a little bit more left in the tank. Obviously, that's their grown men, that's their decision, that's their, whatever. But, for Brandon Graham to go out the right way, really means a lot to me. Let me see here. Kevin Talker Bird says, I feel like Gary wants to be an Eagle. Yeah, that's the vibe that I got from him too. It was like he was trying to like give subtle hints, right? And when Jason said, hey man, how would you like to come to Philadelphia? He just kind of like, yeah, man, they're winning. They're in the Super Bowl. The Eagles are nice. They're nice. So for me, Howie Roseman, it's like a no-brainer for me. Like not calling, come on, man. Not even picking up the phone and calling, especially when you got a couple of departures on your defensive line. Nah, my goodness. And so what really the reason why I really want Myles Garrett is not because of his name. I want Myles Garrett because what he's going to mean to Jalen Carter. Bringing in Myles Garrett means that Jalen Carter is able to play to the maximum potential that he can, because now and the Chiefs did it a lot too. This is why Milton Williams had 2 sacks. Josh Sweat had 2 sacks, right? The Chiefs double teamed Jalen Carter the entire game. If you bring in Myles Garrett, you're not you can't double team Jalen Carter, right? So if you double team Jalen Carter, then you're leaving Myles Garrett one-on-one. If you double team Myles Garrett, you're leaving Jalen Carter one-on-one. Now, Myles Garrett coming to Philadelphia, you get to see, now you get extra value. One player, now watch it, it's just basic math. You bring in Myles Garrett, one player makes the football life better for Jordan Davis because he's no longer seeing double teams, right? Jalen Carter no longer sees double teams, and Nolan Smith no longer sees double teams. That's why I would do everything I could or can rather to bring in Myles Garrett. You bring in him and you draft a couple of guys on defense, just a couple of fillers, right? A couple of rotational pieces, maybe a couple of free agent guys. To me, I don't see how the Eagles don't get back next year. I don't see it. I don't see it. J Doc says, you're absolutely right. Adding to our already great team is the key. Josh Sweat is also wanting to get paid as well, so he's probably going to leave, unfortunately. Yeah, we're going to lose some guys, but because we're so young, and I think that's what is going to help us. Like, we're the youngest defense in all of football, right? So your key players, right, your gotta-have-it guys, those guys are squared away. Those guys are good to go. So your Josh Sweats of the world, love Josh Sweat, but he's no Myles Garrett, right? Now, the Eagles' backup defensive tackle position, if you lose Milton Williams, which we probably will, that's something that, you got to find that production somewhere, either through free agency or drafting a guy second round. I do like Mojo Ajamo, see what his development looks like, but you're going to have to add a third defensive tackle rotational piece. Hopefully you can get a versatile player that can give you some defensive end reps and some D-tackle reps. Just depends on, what kind of prospect is out there in the draft or via trade. I do know the Eagles are lucky. Again, they're going to get lucky in this draft because I think this draft is really, really deep at defensive line, right? There's a couple of players that I like. Landon Jackson, 6'7" guy out of Arkansas. We're going to start getting into some mock drafts here really soon, probably this week or next week. Landon Jackson's a really good player, really stout at the point of attack, can rush the quarterback. He's pretty fast, has has some agility to his game as well. James Peace Jr. out of Tennessee. He's another guy that I like. Really quick, twitchy guy. I would think a taller, skinnier version of Will Anderson Jr. out of from the Texans. I think he kind of reminds me a little bit of Nolan Smith. Nolan is a little bit more stronger, I would say, against the run. But Anderson, if you can get James Peace Jr. in this defense, you got Nolan Smith 4'3" coming off one side. You got James Peace Jr. coming off the other side, right? Like it's this Eagles. The one thing that I do know that Howie Roseman, he is going to replenish this defensive line. You don't dominate how you dominated in the Super Bowl and not replenish. When you dominate, you replenish, right? The data showed us in the game in real time. Yeah, that's what we need to stick to doing. That right there. All right. Easy E said, yes, I did. Jalen Hurts and Saquon brought it back to the crib. Super Bowl champs, man. I'm excited. Easy says, what we can't do is do what we did in 2017 and just re-sign everyone and add no one starving for a chip. Gotta evolve. This is absolutely true. And it's crazy because a couple of guys, right? You guys are asking some great questions, kind of transitioning to some of the things I wanted to get into tonight. A couple of guys, man, that I saw hoisting that trophy kind of pissed me off. You guys ever see those memes on like Instagram? Somebody moving a piece of furniture and it's like one person, they're trying to help, but they're not really helping. I don't know how I felt about James Bradbury holding up a trophy. Like, and I'm not saying that James Bradbury didn't offer any emotional help or support to this team or help the young guys in the playbook or anything like that. Guys like James Bradbury, guys like Bryce Huff, like, you know what I mean? It's like $50 million. And you gave us nothing. You wore number 0 and you gave this defensive line absolutely nothing. Right? And so what I hope this teaches the Eagles, what I hope it teaches Howie Roseman is, hey, and I get it. It's kind of like, I get why Howie did it because at that time, Nolan Smith Jr. didn't turn into who he is now. Like, Nolan was just, it was a steady climb, right? And you lose Hassan Reddick, it's like, all right, well, you got to do something. You cannot replace Hassan Reddick, right? I think he came over like 15 plus, crazy year, crazy numbers. So you got to replenish that. I get it. But when it comes to Bryce Huff, man, I'm just like, dude, you couldn't give us nothing? $50 million. And you get an opportunity to put a Super Bowl ring on your finger. You did absolutely nothing. I guess you gave Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson some practice reps. Okay. So, man, oh God, it's not sitting right with me. It's not sitting right with me. Amen. What's up, bro? He says, we stayed locked in already thinking about CB2, offensive coordinator, new edge, and bring back Zach Bond. Yeah, Zach Bond goes absolutely nowhere. I'm telling you guys this right here, right now. Zach Bond isn't going anywhere anytime soon. He's not going anywhere, right? Zach isn't. Listen, I just think when you talk about guys having fun and guys being a part of this culture, like, so let's talk about Mekhi Beckham since we're talking about players that got to get re-signed. For me, I feel like if I'm these players, I'm saying to myself, what's important? Obviously, nobody's playing football for free. I get it. But at the same time, it's like, man, you got an opportunity. It's not like Jalen Hurts is 38 years old. Jalen Hurts is 26 years old. Right? So you can imagine what the future looks like. And so what I'm saying is, if I'm Mekhi Beckham, if I'm players like that, I'm like, man, I'm 25. Lane Johnson is 35, 36. You know, maybe I take a pay cut to stay a little longer, right? I take some money now. I'm going to kind of give them a discount, not too big of a discount. Kind of get the Eagles a discount because they took an opportunity on me, took a chance on me, right? I still get to stick around with Coach Stoutland. And when Lane retires, then I kick over to right tackle, right? So some of these players understand that, you know, they produced because of the system, right? And I'm not saying they weren't great players before. Zach Bond is 28 years old, right? So he's been around for a while. A couple years he'll be 30 years old. So we gotta. I think some of these players, they'll say to themselves, you know what? I just can't leave Philadelphia. And I get the money, I get this, I get what I could get. And I'm not saying that they're going to play for free. The Philadelphia Eagles, Howie Roseman will pay these players. But what I'm saying is, if you're these players and you've been exposed to the culture, you've been exposed to, like, you know what I mean, like what's really happening over here in Philadelphia, you're not going to go nowhere else. When you get a taste of how good it is, right? Pause. You're not going to go nowhere else. Like when you meet that one, come on, fellas, you know. All right? You ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. I don't care what you say. So Vic Fangio is going to attract players, man. And I'll tell you this. When you think about players like Zach Bond and Mekhi Beckham, think about players out there right now who, you know, superstar players from one team and just need 1 year to kind of prove themselves. The Philadelphia Eagles organization is a land of opportunity. We are the organization. It didn't work with Devin White. Unfortunately, it doesn't work with everybody, but we are the organization, man, guys come to and they want to play for to get to that bag, bro. That's just what it is. Because we have the infrastructure. We have the culture. We have the meat and potatoes, man. We just need some seasoning. We just need a little sprinkle here, a little sprinkle there, a little sprinkle here, a little sprinkle there. Nothing much. Nothing too much, man. So we're going to be just fine. Kevin talks. Kevin says, what would you be willing to give up for a guy like Myles Garrett? I give up a first for sure. Kevo, I agree. To me, that 32 is basically a second. I don't know any rookie. Now, I will say this before I say that. Howie Roseman has had a very hot hand the last 2 years. Talking about Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, those guys. Follow it up with rookie Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. It's very rare that you're going to find a guy at 32 that can have a dramatic, keyword dramatic, impactful. What I want to say, somebody that can impact your roster like that, right? Quinyon Mitchell, like that. That's how you know Quinyon Mitchell should have went top 10 because he was an impact player like that. That's how you know Cooper DeJean shouldn't have fell down in the second round. He should have been probably at 22 to the Eagles. Fell just like that. That's how you know. Like, that's how you know. So at 32, are we going to find somebody that can impact us just like that? I don't know. It's possible, but they will have to be a perfect scheme fit, right? So like Kevin is saying, I agree with him. Man, give that first up. Give that first up. That first round draft pick may just be your ticket to Super Bowl 60. It may be your ticket to Super Bowl 60. So I'm even willing to give up future capital, right? I'm not, because I just know where the Eagles are. I'm basically giving up future early second round picks to get back to the Super Bowl, right? So I would give up a first. I would consider next year's first. Bryce Huff, he can go. Any player on this roster that didn't really help us this year, that we overpaid just to get the contracts off our books, just to get the players' aura and that players' energy out of the building. I need dead weight off this roster. So Howie's going to look at the roster and he's going to chop that fat. He has to chop that fat off. Bryce Huff, got to go. All right. CJ McCollum, I like you at backup safety, but we just signed Lewis Sane, who was a former first-round pick. We believe more in him than you. Love what you can do for us. Maybe you could be a practice squad. You're extra fat. Got to go. Chop you. Just chop. Let him go. You just can't do it. We can't have guys making $50 million and then they're not productive. And then you got Nolan Smith, I mean, damn near, took you to the Super Bowl by himself on that defensive line. Nolan Smith played his behind off this playoffs. So you know what he's going to tell Howie. Hey man, when we went to the Super Bowl, I got a ring. When I took us, right, you were paying him $50 million. You were paying him $13 a pop. Nolan Smith's going to get paid. So whatever it takes to get Myles Garrett on this defensive front, I would do. Honestly, I would do it in a New York minute, because the kind of impact that Saquon Barkley has had in our running game, the impact that he's had on our offense, the impact. See, that's how you know what players to give up, right? Like, I'm going to give up a first round pick for somebody who can make an impact to more than one person. All right. I'm going to give up a first-round pick for Myles Garrett because I know he's going to help Jalen Carter. I know he's going to free up Jordan Davis on one-on-one matchups. I know he's going to make life easier. You think Zach Bond had an all-pro year this year? Huh? You think Zach Bond went off this year? You put Myles Garrett in front of Zach Bond. You put Jordan Davis. You put Jalen Carter. You put Nolan. You put that defensive line. You think Nakobe Dean showed out? Oh, you do? Okay. Stand by. Myles Garrett, man, and I'm going to say it. You guys are probably going to get tired of me saying it all off season. We need Myles Garrett because he makes everybody that much better. And we have the secondary to do it. Right? We have the secondary to do it. So I would give up a lot to go get him. Eamon says, don't get me started on James Burntberry. Yeah, that dude, man. That dude. I'm just like, why is the trophy in your hands? Why is my trophy in your hands? But it's all good. Shout out to James Bradbury. He got a free ride. It's all good. James Bradbury and Bryce Huff, you guys got free rides to New Orleans, but it's okay. It happens. Carlos says, we can afford to let Milton go with Hunt. I forgot about Hunt. He played very well too. With Hunt and Ajamo stepping up. We need to keep Sweat unless they go for Garrett and Bond. Yeah, unless they go for Garrett. He says, and Bond ain't going nowhere. And we signed Slay to 1 last season. Slay, look, man. Slay said he's done. He said that he probably will play one more season, but he knows that it's not going to be for Philadelphia. For me, I'm like, if I'm Slay, I get it. If it's a money grab, maybe you go to Baltimore, Tennessee, someplace where they get a rookie quarterback and they think they need, veteran presence in that secondary. But if I'm Slay, I'm thinking about that a lot. Like, man, do I want to go out on top? Like, I'd rather go out on top, not for some money. Nah, I get it. Like, everybody's financial situation is different, so I understand. But like, if it was me, there's no way I'm going to give up an opportunity. If I'm Slay, it's either I retire or I come back to Philadelphia on a discounted deal. And I know his pride probably won't let him do it, but I think his love for the organization and for the brothers and for the opportunity to do it, I would. But if he doesn't have the fire, right? Because the Eagles, look, that's the thing about the Super Bowl. You win. You win the Super Bowl. There's like 2 months later, you're back. You know, it was something that Jalen Hurts kind of talked about. It's like, man, we played in the Super Bowl and we was back in training camp, right? So you have a shorter offseason. And for Darius Slay, guy that's 34, 35, that ain't good. So if I'm Slay, I retire Eagle or I come back to the Eagles. Say how we look, man. I want to pull a Brandon Graham. I want one more season teaching and coaching up Quinyon Mitchell, teaching and coaching up Cooper DeJean, teaching and coaching up any rookie player that you're going to bring in here. Give me that opportunity. I give you a deal. I give you a 1 year, $8 million deal, right? In hopes to try to get a repeat and to also leave my mark. If I'm Darius Slay, like don't do what Zach Ertz did, looking for money, feeling like you're undervalued, right? Eagles not giving you what you want, and then you go to the Commanders or go to a different team, and you think you're too old for that, Slay. You too old for that, man. You played 13, 14 years, got a lot of money, millions of dollars. At this point, it's about your legacy, right? And listen, if I'm Slay, to me, I would rather end as a champion than going to the Tennessee Titans for a year and then retiring. Nah, can't do it, won't do it. Can't do it, won't do it. Can't do it, won't do it. Jameer Adams, what's up, bro? He said, what's good, PG? We balled the freak out. Absolutely, bro. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. I'm proud of my team, our team. Bro, I wanted to do like a live yesterday, but I was just like, my emotions was all over the place. I wasn't regulated. My emotions was all over the place. I was really in shock. I'm still kind of coming down, right? Because it was like, oh, did we just win the freaking Super Bowl? Like, am I processing this right? And it wasn't like I didn't believe in the Eagles, but the way we did it was just like, yeah, we're taking that. Yeah, thank you guys for showing up. We appreciate you guys from traveling all the way from Kansas City, right? But yeah, we'll take that. You know who I know was hurt? Oh, God. Oh, God, I know he was hurt. Oh, God. Carson freaking Wentz. Wentsy boy. All right? See what you could have had? See what you could have did in Philadelphia if you just stayed humble, right? You didn't, if you didn't want to think it was all about you, right? Yeah. Jalen Hurts wasn't losing that game. Jalen, man, my God, you came to Philadelphia, took Carson Wentz's job, sent Carson Wentz packing. He goes to the team, and then you're taking this. Oh my God, you get a Super Bowl in front of him. I'm telling you, Carson Wentz, he's going to have to see a therapist after being in that stadium yesterday. I'm telling you what I know. That is not for the weak. The team that drafted you, oh my God. Oh. The team that drafted you wins it all without you. God has a funny way of humbling folk, man. So I told Carson Wentz over the years, grass ain't green on the other side, my guy. If you would have just stayed patient, right? You may not would have had Saquon Barkley, but everything works out, man. But it just was like, wow, this is kind of crazy. Charles said, trade Huff for picks, go get Miles. Yeah, anything. If I could get, I don't even know if we can get a hoagie for Miles, for Bryce Huff. I mean, this dude, good night, man. Nothing. We got nothing for this dude. I mean, nothing for this cat, man. He pisses me off. Kevin Talking Bird said, definitely Myles Garrett will make an impact day one. He's worth the first. Oh, yeah. We got that. Again, I'm telling you guys, that's what I want. I don't want nothing else. That's all I want for Christmas, Howie. Howie Roseman, that's all we want for Christmas. Bring Myles Garrett to Philadelphia. And he wants to come too. And you know how I know he wants to come? Now watch this. Hold up. Let's stay detailed. Let's stay detailed. Now I know Josh Sweat is not going to command Myles Garrett type of dollars, but Myles Garrett said, they asked him, they said, Myles, man, what are you willing to do to go to the team that that you want to play for? They said very clear. Said, Myles Garrett, are you willing to take a pay cut to go to a destination that you believe can allow you to win, get to the Super Bowl? Myles Garrett, out of his own mouth, said, I'm willing to do whatever it takes financially to get to where I need to go. When a man of his ilk, of his aura, of his status, when a superstar player of his status says, hey, I'll take Josh Sweat money, I'll take Bryce Huff money. Yeah, if I'm Howie, Josh Sweat, love what you did for us, but I got Myles Garrett on the other line, and he's saying to Myles, how much are you going to take? 12.5? Okay, Josh, he's saying he's going to take 12.5. Can you do 8-9 for me? No, you can't? My man, appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for that ring. Thank you. Hey, Myles Garrett, yeah, it's going to be a 4-year deal. Actually, make it 5-year deal. 12.5 the first year and $2 million annually per year after that. That sound good? Yeah, we're going to pair you up with Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, get those guys signed. We appreciate you being flexible for us, just like Jalen Hurts did with his contract on the offensive side of the ball. But, we got Jalen Carter coming up. We got Jordan Davis. A lot of these Georgia guys, we want to keep them retained and keep them on our roster. But, you coming to this roster, yeah, we're probably going to be able to get back to Super Bowl 60. Okay, we'll call it in. We'll tell Adam Schefter. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, you talk. You talk. All right, you talk. The Eagles have signed Myles Garrett. I'm ask Howie Roseman, Howie, did you really sign Myles Garrett? How are we going to say?
Did you realize that you were a champion in their eyes?
Yes, I did.
So I packed it up and brought it back to the crib. Just a little something, show you how we live. Everybody want it, but it ain't that serious. That's that shit. So if you gon' do it,
Telling you, man. I'm telling you, this is beautiful. The Eagles capitalizing on this Super Bowl was monumental. I don't think you guys really understand how crazy, because it wasn't a guarantee. It wasn't a guarantee that we could do what we did. I think about the Dream Team and Vince Young saying that stupid comment and everything that we gone through and signing Nnamdi Asomugha and taking that route. And it's just like, oh God, to be quite honest with you guys, when the Eagles signed Saquon Barkley, it felt like Dream Team. It felt like it felt like it was kind of cut from that cloth, but this roster actually had the determination to fight and the leadership to actually put in the work to get to the Super Bowl. Our Dream Team era, we were like the Kansas City Chiefs, where we just thought, I can wake up out of the bed. I could just beat Patrick Mahomes and win a Super Bowl. Nah, brother. I knew the Chiefs. I knew we were going to be we had a chance when the Kansas City Chiefs owner, when they beat the Bills, he said, yeah, guys, and we're going to go to New Orleans and we're going to do something very special no team has done before. We're going to do it. We're going to win. I'm like, Jalen Hurts may have something to say about that. A.J. Brown may have something to say about that. Devontae Smith may have, BG may have something to say about that. I mean, they just came into this game so arrogant, just so arrogant. So they deserve to lose how they lost. Charles says Slay is 35. I can't see him. I can't see us giving him 12 plus million. But if he takes a pay cut, I'll take him. But I can't blame him for getting that money or on another team. Absolutely not. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If I'm Slay, Me personally, if I'm Slay, I'm 35, I'm thinking about my legacy, but I'm not Slay. Slay's probably like, yeah, I could go to another team and get 13 million this year and just call it a year. Cool. If that's what Slay wants to do, for me, if I'm being honest with you guys, I don't want Slay back. I don't want Slay back because I want to see what Keely Ringo can do. I think he has earned the opportunity to get a fair shot, at that left side cornerback position. When he's been out there, he hasn't been a slouch. He hasn't been somebody that's just like, oh God, you know what I mean? Nah, he's made some plays, right? And he's a second round pick. Philadelphia Eagles don't got too long. They got to evaluate him. You got to figure out what you have, right? You don't trade a third round pick for a player and then wait his last year his contract to evaluate him. Right? Now, his mind, I love the Eagles, but 3 years I haven't been able to get no bump unless somebody gets hurt. I'd rather go to the Packers. They'll give me a starting position. Right? These guys, they want to play. That's the issue that the Eagles are maybe going to run into, with some of these guys. Not really. I think they'll give it to Ringo. I'll tell you this much. I'm not paying Isaiah Rodgers that money. No. I'm going Keely Ringo all day long. I'm going Keely Ringo over Isaiah Rodgers. I like Isaiah Rodgers, but nah. I'm not going to pay him $8, especially off a Super Bowl ring. Nah. Keely Ringo, come on. You have an opportunity. You got your opportunity. Yep. Let me see. Jameer says he didn't even try to shake Hurts' hand after. Yeah, it's crazy. Carson Wentz, man, get out of here. Get out of here, man. Get out of here. Amos says, if you want Bryce Huff, you get Bryce Huff. Yeah, at this point, who wants him? You want Bryce Huff? You need him? Give me a hoagie in a ride after the Super Bowl parade to Maryland. I think we got a deal. Yeah, hey, what Drewski say? Drewski say, I got good news and I got bad news. Drewski say, the good news is we got your money. The bad news is they're giving you life. Sayonara. Bryce Huff, I got good news and bad news. All right. The bad news is we paid you $50 million. The good news is we're going to trade you the following season or we're going to cut you. Sayonara. Right? That's crazy, man. Bryce Huff hoisting the trophy. He's sitting up there hoisting the trophy on my watch and then put no work in. No work. What's the meme when somebody moving furniture and everybody moving furniture and the one dude ain't doing no work, he just trying to act like he helping. And man. Guys, let's just for a quick second, man, let's just sit here for a moment of silence, man, and just think about the Eagles being Super Bowl 59. This is not a dream. This is not a dream, bro. It's not a dream.
Let's talk about love. Is it anything and everything you offer? Or do you feel it hard?
congratulations. I recognize your false confidence and calculated promises all in your conversation. I hate people that feel entitled. Look at me crazy cause I ain't invite you.
Woo! Kendrick say, I hate people that feel entitled. Right? Kansas City Chiefs. You thought you was gonna wake up and just win the game? You guys, the Kansas City Chiefs thought they were gonna wake up and just win this game. That's the disrespectful part. That's just disrespectful. Like Jalen Hurts wasn't gonna have anything to say about the Super Bowl. Crazy work. That girl Nick, what's up, sis? She says Ringo, a PI machine. He definitely need to get on that field for experience. Yeah, man. You got to. He, young player, right? You're gonna have that when you're a young player, but I think he's not scary. He's not a scary player. He's not like, oh God, like what's the kid we drafted out of Washington who turned out to be a bust? What was his name? Sidney Jones. I think about Sidney Jones. We put him out there. Cooked. Sidney Jones got cooked. So for me, I would just take a look at it. I would revisit it for sure. Keely Ringo hasn't done anything that detrimental to make me think he doesn't deserve a chance. So we'll see. I'm excited to see what Howie Roseman does in the offseason. What players he decides to keep and return and sign and pay. So we'll see. Charles says, what does our cap space look like? I heard it was $29 million, but it's more now because of the season being over. Charles, I can't lie to you. I don't know what it looks like. I need to sort of get more knowledgeable about the Eagles' finances. I think because, it's Eagles fans, man, we're so spoiled by Howie Roseman. It could say we got, $2 million in there. And then the Eagles go out and sign Myles Garrett. Like, where did Howie Roseman get the money? So, yeah, man, for me, it's just this team, I think, this is just a magical season. I'm going to tell you guys this. I don't even think we're going to be able to process this season right now. I think this is something, and this is something I had to kind of come to terms with because it's just so much. Like, even when you think about there was a couple of record things that Jalen Hurts and a couple of other players. I think Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith are the first wide receiver duo from the collegiate level now in the pros to actually win a championship together, to win a natty and to win a college and to win a pro NFL championship. So just stuff like that. Even the stat where Saquon Barkley has the most rushing records, most rushing yards in a season, including the playoffs, right? He's number one on that list. It's just so much, man, that we accomplished this year that I got to really process the entire offseason. But, we've already lost Kellen Moore. I'm okay with losing Kellen Moore. When you help us and assist us on winning a Super Bowl and you get an opportunity, man, go get it. Go get it, right? So I think for the Eagles, what I will say is this, this will be what, Jalen Hurts' 9th offensive coordinator in 10 years, dating all the way back to his time at Alabama. If I'm the Philadelphia Eagles, outside of trying to target Myles Garrett in free agency, I think my highest priority too would be to find Jalen Hurts an offensive coordinator that he can grow with. Now, here's what I would say about what the Eagles did last year, firing Brian Johnson. I think, yes, Nick Sirianni was able to get to the Super Bowl, but I think in that players that shouldn't have really lost their job, like Brian Johnson, they shouldn't have lost their job. I think Brian Johnson was the perfect match for Jalen Hurts, because we do know that Nick Sirianni came out and, there was some words on the street that it was, even though Brian Johnson was, title-wise the offensive coordinator, Nick Sirianni still had his hands in play calling, right? So, when you think about the Commanders getting to the NFC Championship game and Brian Johnson is a part of that passing game coordinated coaching staff, it makes you wonder, like, did the Eagles make a mistake? Did the Eagles make a mistake in letting Brian Johnson go? Like, we'll never know, right? But it's kind of like, man, like, will the Eagles, will the Eagles be like, we'll never know this, but I'm wondering, Brian Johnson being in the NFC Championship game and the Eagles being in the NFC Championship game, I'm wondering, could the Eagles have gone to the NFC Championship game with Brian Johnson as their offensive coordinator? And to me, I would say the answer is yes. And so I do think that losing Brian Johnson is a big loss for the Eagles. When you think about it now from a totality perspective, like, him and Jalen Hurts could have been like peanut butter and jelly for years to come, but they never really got a chance to. Brian Johnson never got a chance to really roll out his offense. So whoever the Eagles decide to get moving forward, it needs to be somebody like I'm not hiring you unless you could give me at least 3 years, right? What that looks like, if that's a guy from college that really wants an opportunity. Excuse me. I don't know what that looks like. Do the Eagles call Lincoln Riley? I don't know, but I gotta get somebody in here that Jalen Hurts can have some kind of continuity with. We can't be in this cycle year in and year out, where Jalen Hurts has to adjust to the offensive coordinator every single year, because you're putting mental pressure on him, right? I get it. You're paying him $255 million, but I mean, come on, man. So that's the only thing about winning is, Howie Roseman says it all the time. When you win, you lose people. And when you lose people. And so I get that and I understand. But for me, Jalen Hurts has talked about it. He's talked about his frustrations around, multiple offensive coordinators. And obviously, he'll be the first to say, man, I'll do what I got to do. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to, figure it out. But I don't want my quarterback doing that for years. Excuse me. I don't want him doing that. I don't want Jalen Hurts under that kind of pressure. I just don't. Charles says, do you think we will re-sign Kenny Gainwell? It depends. I don't think anybody on this Eagles roster that we just assume won't return to Philadelphia. I don't think there will be. I don't think it won't be an initial conversation around, hey, what would it take? Like, hey, Josh, we know you got great offers, but what would it take? Milton Williams, we know you got great offers, but what would it take? Just like there's no harm in asking, right? And I think when you just won a Super Bowl, some players, they say, you just never, listen, man, the Eagles gave me my first opportunity. Some players, look, Devontae Smith did it. All right, and this is why Jalen Hurts is so smart, and I love who he is as a person, because, excuse me, it was a long night yesterday. Everybody's tired. Most Eagles fans, we're sleep deprived. We celebrating all night is crazy. But when just imagine if you're Milton Williams, and I get it, these guys want money. I get it. We're not playing football for free. But what I'm saying is, I believe that the culture, the brotherly love is so thick in Philadelphia, that players would consider that. I think players, because of what Jalen Hurts did and what Devontae Smith did, Justin Jefferson got $100 million. Devontae Smith got $50 million. So what I'm saying is when you got Devontae Smith, superstar wide receiver Devontae Smith and Super Bowl champion, saying, hey, you know what, I'll take $50 million because I'm cool right here. I'm cool with Jalen. I want him to be my quarterback. I got AJ opposite me. I'm cool. Right? So some players may take that, right? So it's like, if you're Milton Williams, if you're any young player on this team, you look at that. Yeah, Milton Williams, you had a breakout season, but our franchise leading quarterback, Jalen Hurts, he took a pay cut too. Dak Prescott is making $60 million. Jalen Hurts is making 51. Dak Prescott can't even sniff the Super Bowl if he wanted to. So these are the things you just got to think about. Do we sign Kenny Gainwell? It's a chance, but I'm going to be honest. I like Will Shipley. I think you just I think what the Eagles did with Kenny Gainwell, it's a pattern, right? When we had Shady, we signed Miles Sanders. When we had Miles Sanders, we signed Kenny Gainwell. When Kenny Gainwell's time to go, we signed Will Shipley. So Howie Roseman does this year in and year out, right? He knows when he knows that Kenny Gainwell's probably going to command a bigger contract. So, okay, replenish it. He knows that he's going to lose Brandon Graham. Okay, let's go Jalix Hunt. Let's get a guy in here. We're not going to have to pay for another 4 years. All right, so, yeah, man. That's what I think about Kenny Gainwell. Great question, Charles. Amos says random, but would you trade Grant Calcaterra in the 5th round pick for Kyle Pitts in the 4th round pick 2025? Heck yeah. I'm gonna be honest. He's another. I've been dreaming of Kyle Pitts whenever he was drafted. Man, I wanted Kyle Pitts so bad. Was Kyle Pitts Devontae Smith's year? I think he was. Kyle Pitts, I was in love with Kyle Pitts because of his time in Florida. And at that time, we had Brian Johnson on our roster, and he had coached Kyle Pitts. Are y'all yawning in the chat? Why am I yawning so much? So Kyle Pitts, man, he is somebody that from Philly, Kyle Pitts would be amazing in this. I think we're thinking dreaming too high. But man, if the Eagles could trade for Kyle Pitts, what? On Madden, every time I start my franchise, I don't know why, but listen, it was a trade for trade. I traded Dallas Goedert for Kyle Pitts. Dallas Goedert, 28 years old. Kyle Pitts, 23 years old. Even swap. Traded him. I like Dallas. Love Dallas. In real life, but on the game, hey, sayonara. What Drewski say? Sayonara. So, yeah, actually, I like Kyle Pitts. I like his game. Great question. Ooh, hot dog it. Oh, I love that. Charles. Doug Peterson, offensive coordinator. Woo-wee. I got to sit on that. Pause. What a great thought. What a great thought, Charles. Doug Peterson. I might have to do a freaking video on that by itself. Doug Peterson as the offensive coordinator, teaming back up with Jalen Hurts, the quarterback who he drafted. You bring in another head coach who's done it, who's won a, oh my God. Oh my God. Charles, That comment is legendary, my friend. I'm thinking of so many reasons why I would do it in a New York Minute. If you have Nick Sirianni, now the key is Nick Sirianni. Can Nick Sirianni control his most emotions in terms of not get all emotional because it's Doug Peterson, former Eagles head? If Nick Sirianni is mature about it and he can handle it, yeah, I would do it. Doug Peterson drafted Jalen Hurts. He saw the potential in Jalen Hurts. And I'm telling you, Jalen Hurts, look, it was just something about Jalen Hurts and Doug Peterson together. And that Arizona Cardinals game, it was just something about that offense. I'm going to look into this further, but I absolutely love this take. I'm going to do a video about this. Probably going to do it this week. But this is something, Charles. Man, I like that. I like that. Doug Peterson. Pairing Doug Peterson. And you know, what I love about that is Jalen Hurts respects Doug Peterson. He has no choice but to respect Doug Peterson because of what he did. If I'm Nick Sirianni, my goodness. That's how you get back. You get back somewhere where someone has already been and where they've gone. You can't ask nobody directions to go somewhere they don't know how to get to. Doug Peterson understands how to get there. So for Nick, it's like you don't have to worry about offense. You don't have to worry about defense. Oh, my goodness. Amen says Kyle Pitts is our future tight end. Yeah, if we get Kyle Pitts, it's good night, Irene. You can cancel Christmas. Thank you guys, man, so much for rocking with me. All four of you guys, I appreciate it to the very end. It's been one hell of a season. It's been really hard for me because it's like, obviously I'm going to have to kind of close out the season some kind of way, right? Just kind of put a bow on what the Eagles did this season. And I don't want it to end, you know what I mean? But it's not ending. It's not like the channel is ending or something like that, but it's just like, wow. That's all I can say, man, you know. And it's crazy because I have a video up. It says, "Do you still believe?" I dropped the video like midway through the season. I think is when the Eagles, not midway through the season, but like right when we was going over our rough patch before we headed to the bye week. And, you know, I kind of wanted to drop it because I felt like the Eagles it was just a dark cloud over the team. And it really did feel like one of those seasons. I didn't see Super Bowl at all at that time. So, yeah, you know, the season is over. It's a great over, right? Super Bowl champions, but we got to cherish this, man. We'll never be able to get this season back again. But that's life. We evolve, we grow, we move on. But we're going to take a couple of more months to celebrate this season and just kind of talk about our accomplishments. Because that's what we do, Eagles fans. We talk about our accomplishments in real time. When we actually accomplish them, we don't wait 20 years later and talk, oh, remember what we did? We all old. Remember what we did in 2025? Nah, we always celebrated that. If we ain't doing it in 2045, it don't matter. That's just how we built in Philly. We ain't. People don't even talk about Super Bowl in 2017. We don't care because we wanted to win in 2025. Charles, I'm gonna do a video on that, Charles. That's a great freaking take right there. Charles says Doug Peterson would be something familiar for Hurts instead of learning a new system all over again for like the 5th year, right? And here's what I love. The reason why that makes so much sense is because Doug Peterson, he's already been a head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's already been a head coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The desire for him to be a head coach is no longer there. It's not there. So you're not signing somebody, you're not bringing in somebody that is old. You're not bringing in a Kellen Moore 2.0. You're bringing in somebody that you respect. You're bringing in somebody that won a Super Bowl. You're bringing in somebody that drafted Jalen Hurts. A perfect marriage. A perfect marriage. And Charles, I thank you so much for even saying this and bringing this to my imagination. This is your intellectual property. I'm going to do a video on this. I'm going to expound on this and go into greater details of why I personally think that I would actually do this. But, man, how can the Eagles do a repeat? Myles Garrett, 3 things the Eagles need to do to repeat. Myles Garrett, Doug Peterson, and I'll figure out the next one. But, man, thank you guys so much. Today's video, man, we kind of decompressed a little bit, talked about the Super Bowl, processed a little bit. We understand that most Eagles fans, like myself, we were in shock. Not that we won, but just in shock that, man, we actually Jalen Hurts got him one. I got some people, I think what they do, they ordered the Amazon Super Bowl replica rings. Yeah, I'm about to do that. I got to get my Jalen Hurts shirt with the suit, because when you talk about Jalen Hurts, the Super Bowl champion Hurts. Like, Slay. You don't want to be called Darius. It's Slay. Hey, Darius, it's Slay. Nah. It's Super Bowl champion Jalen Hurts when you talk about him. Charles says, but like you were saying, the only downside to it, the only downside to it is him and Nick Sirianni bumping heads. Yeah, I think, if there's like a clear understanding that if Doug Peterson comes in, he's like, yeah, bro, this is your team. I'm only here to run the offense. That's cool, right? Sometimes it sounds too good to be true, but if you want to push the envelope, if you want to do something special, if I do that, here's what I do. I sign Nick Sirianni. If you bring in Doug Peterson, right, you're gonna have to sign Nick Sirianni to a multi-million-dollar deal. So at least another 3-year deal, right? You sign Nick to a 3-4 year deal. That gives him the insurance, like, hey, we're putting our money where our mouth is. You're our head coach, right? But Doug Peterson, him and Jalen Hurts, they're gonna go to work. Yeah, they're gonna go to work. And if I'm Nick Sirianni, you will be a fool not to do it. Would it be a little awkward? Yeah, because you'll have now who would mess this up? Who is the one entity surrounding Philadelphia that would just destroy this thought process? The media. Oh, well, Nick, does it bother you? Doug Peterson, former head coach with the Philly statue, and you head coach. Introducing those negative thoughts. Those just things that it doesn't even matter. He's the offensive coordinator. He's done great work here in our past. He's going to be a huge part of where we go offensively. It's my job to lead this team and ensure that we get there. But he's going to be a huge part of that. That's it, Nick Sirianni. Nothing more, nothing less. I respect the hell out of Doug Peterson. We see the statue outside, right? And when we talk about now Nick Sirianni, okay, don't sit here and tell me that you can't be great without the greatness of others. Now, you've been telling us that all season long, all year long. I can't be great without the greatness of others. I can't be great without the greatness of others. Okay, so let's go ahead and sign Doug Peterson. He was great. He's done great things in Philadelphia. You can't be great without the greatness of others. Push the envelope. He drafted Doug Peterson, saw something in Jalen Hurts first. Give him an opportunity. Have him come back and be your offensive coordinator. And see what he does. Jalen Hurts needs somebody that he respects, right? You can't bring in some soup sandwich after Kellen Moore. It's what we can't do. Philadelphia Eagles cannot bring in a soup sandwich after Kellen Moore. You got to bring in somebody Jalen Hurts respects. He's a Super Bowl champion. You either match his energy with a former head coach or somebody that has gone to the Super Bowl, or you better go get Lincoln Riley or somebody. You better get somebody that Jalen Hurts is excited about and somebody that he says, you know what, I can grow with. Period. Charles says, Doug and Vic at OC and DC, 2 old school guys. I love it. Yeah. I love it too, man. I love it too. Yeah. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, man. But thank you guys so much. Salute to you, champions. Salute to you, champions. Eagles fans. You are world champions. Enjoy this world champion offseason. I don't know about you guys, but I'm on YouTube, but I'm just watching. I'm binge watching Cooper DeJean's interception return. I'm binge watching I'm basically watching the same video from 10 different angles. A Jalen Hurts press conference. I'm just trying to soak this time in. Kellen Moore, he's already the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. So we got to rebuild. We got to figure this thing out, man. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's show. I'm excited. Did you realize that your Philadelphia Eagles are champions? Did you?
Did you realize that you were a champion in their eyes? Yes, I did. So I packed it up and brought it back to the crib. Just a little something, show you how we live. Everybody want it, but it ain't that serious. That's that shit. So if you gon' do it just like this. Did you realize that you were a champion in their eyes? You don't see just how wild the crowd is. You don't see just how fly my style is. I don't see why I need a stylist. When I shot so much I can speak Italian. I don't know, I just want it better for my kids. And I ain't saying we was from the projects, but every time I wanna lay away or deposit, my dad'd say when you see close your eyes. We was sorta like Will Smith and his son. In the movie I ain't talking about the rich ones, cause every summer he'd get some brand new hairbrain scheme to get rich from. And I don't know what he did for dope, but he'd send me back to school with a new wardrobe. And I think he did when he packed it up and brought it back to the crib. Just a little something, show you how we live. Everything I wanted, man, it seems so serious. That's that shit. So if you gon' do it just like this. Did you